Okay guys, here's another video following up on some of your classmates that have struggled with this. Now guys, Pythagorean theorem. Every single one of you should know Pythagorean theorem, okay? And if you don't, you got to figure out a way to struggle through it and master it and so on. I don't know what else to say. But anyways, some of these problems are a little bit trickier, as you'll find out. But again, I hope you go ahead and search it, assuming you can't find it in your list of assignments that I gave you. And if you just type in Pythagorean Theorem Challenge, it'll pop up. We're going to go ahead and click this one because that's the practice one, right? And so here's our first problem. We have this triangular shaped monument. It sits on this 5-foot pedestal here, though. See that right there? 5 meters, sorry. 5 meter high pedestal. And we know the width of the monument, as you can see right there, is 11 meters. And the longest side of the triangle monument, that's the hypotenuse, right? That's also called our C, is 61 meters. So guys, the first thing we need to do is figure out what the actual height of the monument is. So let's call the missing height there A. The 11 is our B. The hypotenuse has to be C. It doesn't matter which one here I call A or B, guys, but C has got to be the hypotenuse. So if I take A squared plus B squared, let's just go ahead and call AX. That's what X is, right? It's A squared, or A. That equals C squared, C being 61. Now guys, this is a pretty big number, obviously. We need to use our calculator, right? So let's do that. I know if I take 61 squared, now actually, if you notice, what I did is something a little different here. Check this out. I know I could solve for x squared if I minus 11 squared from both sides. Okay? So I'm going to do that in my calculator. 61 squared minus 11 squared is going to be x squared. So 61 squared minus 11 squared is 3,600. Now remember, that 3,600, guys, is the x side squared. So we have to take the square root to find x, right? The square root of x squared is, of course, x. And so that's why I use this square root button on the calculator. It shows up as squirt, short for square root. I use my answer button down there. Instead of typing this over again, it automatically puts it in for me. So the square root of 3,600 is 60. So we just figured out, guys, let me clean this up. We just figured out that this side is 60 meters long. That's not the answer, though, because it's sitting on this pedestal right here. So how high off the ground is the very tippy top of this monument is 60 plus the 5 meter tall pedestal. So the correct answer that you're going to type in there is 65 meters. But seriously, guys, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. C is always a hypotenuse. All right, let's try another one. Here we're given a triangular pyramid Rubik's Cube of some sort. And they're telling us, and you could, if you look at the drawing down here, guys, they're telling us the height of this cube is actually 12.2 centimeters high. And notice if you look at the picture down here, I'll put in my 12.2, we can make a right triangle with the very center of the base to the vertex or edge or point of the pyramid, right? And we don't know what that is. That's what we're trying to figure out. So they do tell us, if you look at the words there, that every edge is 15 centimeters long. So does everyone agree or realize that what I have here is really a right triangle? The height is 12.2. The length of the edge is 15. The missing R is right there. So I'm going to call R my A, the 12.2 my B, the 15 must be the C. And so I'm just going to go A squared plus B squared, 12.2 squared, equals C squared, 15 squared. Now, if I was to make a guess, I probably did the same thing as I did on the last problem. So let's go ahead and minus 12.2 squared from both sides. So R squared is going to equal 15 squared minus 12.2 squared. 15 squared minus 12.2 squared is 76.16. But that, of course, is R squared. So let's square root both sides. R is going to be the square root of 76.16, which is that. Now, another little lesson I want you to learn if you haven't learned yet. Every answer on a computer, guys, is to a certain accuracy. What I mean by that is they want, the directions will tell you to the nearest centimeter, to the nearest tenth. Now, I don't think I copied it here. Let me check real quick. No, I didn't. So, guys, the answer is either 9 if we round off, but I think if I remember right, I think they wanted the nearest tenth. So I would type in 8.7. If it was the nearest hundredth, it would be 8.73 because the 6 would have us round that 2 up, right? But look at the directions. Make sure you're putting in the correct, accurate answer they want. How much they want you to round off, they will tell you. All right? This one here, let me start it over. Didn't realize I had the work there done. So guys, check this one out. Now this one, the lesson I want you to learn is, if you draw the picture, you'll be able to figure it out. Okay? What I mean by that is, we know Carol bikes 1 kilometer east. So let's say that this way is east. So we know he goes 1 kilometer this way, or she does, because Carol could be a girl name. Now it says here, 4 kilometers north, 4 kms north, because this would be north, that would be east, right? And then 5 kilometers east again. So that's our sketch. The question is, she started here, right? How far is that from where she ended up there? And notice it says this time to the nearest tenth, so I didn't screw up and chop that off of my picture like the last problem. But anyways, we want to know what this distance is. Now guys, if you look carefully, check this out. Couldn't I make a bigger right triangle? And we know from here to here is 1, and from here to here, if you look up there, is 5. So the whole side is going to be 6 kilometers long. And we already know how tall it is this way, because they told us right here, from there to there is 4 kilometers. So guys, we can now figure out the red distance, because that's our C, that's our hypotenuse, right? So all we're going to do is go A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So A squared plus B squared equals 52. 52 equals C squared. Remember, the hypotenuse has to be the C. It doesn't matter which one I call A or B. You can switch those, but the C has got to be the hypotenuse. Now, to solve this, of course, we need to take the square root of both sides. The square root of 52, our answer, is 7.2. So we're going to type in right there 7.2 to get full credit. Now guys, I think that was the last problem I did. Actually, there was one more. But you know what? I don't want this video to last too long. I want you to try it. Make sure you get at least a 75%. How about that? Try it until you get 75%. If you keep struggling though, let me know. I'll make another video with different problems on it. But anyways, guys, this is titled the Pythagorean Theorem Challenge. All you have to do is search this on Khan Academy, and you'll find the assignment I gave you. See you around.